I had enough social problems already. When I was little, maybe 7, I told my friend River to call me a girl instead of a boy, and he just punched me right then and there without thinking about it. My mom thought my nose was broke, and a traveling witch had to set it for me. River apologized, and maybe he even meant it that he was sorry, but he'd made it seem like the whole thing was my fault, like I'd scared him or something. So, yeah, only my mom and Lane knew about the dresses and the paint. If I were a witch, though, I could turn the next person like River into a goat, or figure out things like why those trees were cold. I'll do it anyway, I said as we walked through the fields of flax and barley. What? I started talking faster so I wouldn't lose my nerve. When the coven comes through to take you, I'll tell them I'm you and I'll go off and learn to be a witch. You're a boy, Lane said. Girls are allowed to be knights now. Why can't boys be witches? And besides, it's not my fault I'm a boy. It's still true. I can pretend. Lane walked up next to me and threw her arms around my shoulders. What if you get caught? I won't get caught, I said. Strangers always think I'm a girl anyway. My mother and I ran the stables. There were more popular roads than South Ede, and there were more prosperous towns than Ledston on South Ede, but we still saw our share of wayfarers. Most were on their way to Port Sec to our east or Deadman Castle to our west, and most of them had horses, and most of them stabled with us overnight. We served knights and mercenaries and merchants and brigands, and I was just reaching an age where grown men took not a small amount of interest in trying to figure out my gender. I didn't have even a hint of a beard, my shoulders were narrow, and I had my mother's sharp features. These are witches, though, Lane reminded me. They can see more than other people can. Are you trying to talk me out of it? I asked. No. She squeezed me tighter against her side as we walked. I'm just worried. What will you tell your dads? Or your mother? I won't tell Grell or Jorge anything. My dads had a home all the way in Port Sec. I lived with them every autumn for a month or so when the storms kept them on land. Most of the year, I didn't hear from them, and their only contribution to my upbringing was the silver they sent my mother when they could. Mom, though, she'll understand. I love it like I love the Baron, my mother said when I told her. That was about as close as she came to cursing. She sure didn't love Baron Ede. No one did. She sat in her rocking chair, a clay mug of wine in her hand. I'd waited until after supper to tell her, because she never took news well on an empty stomach. I didn't either, come to think of it. She took a long draw off the mug. You're old enough to make your own mistakes. After that, she didn't say anything at all, which was kind of worse than her yelling at me, really. It left me with nothing to do but stand around. There was only one good chair on the porch of the stable house, and come to my own conclusions about why it was a bad idea. I didn't want to do that. I'd made up my mind, so I tried not to linger on what the witches might do to me if they found out, or what knights sometimes did to witches. I'll get to learn magic, I said. Real magic. Cauldrons and curses, and maybe I'll even learn how to fly. What is it that you think witches do? They travel around doing good things, I said. They help some people and hurt some people, depending on what they deserve. That's what you want to do? Help some people? Hurt other people? Since when have you liked hurting people? I don't know, Mom. Since never, I guess. It was my turn to grow quiet. I'd probably learned that trick from her. The cicadas were out, and early too, filling the air with their rising and falling song. The town drunk said it was going to be an irrational year, one of those years where the seasons don't do what they're supposed to, and crops fail. No one paid him overmuch heed, but the cicadas really shouldn't have been out just yet. There's no way to disguise yourself, my mom said, breaking the silence. Not forever. You don't look